I'm Kevin Rutherford. Welcome to RG's Talent Tips. Today I'm going to show you how to strengthen your influence and become a better leader. If we consider leadership as influencing and facilitating others towards achieving collective goals, then influence is the foundation of leadership. Ultimately, all leadership is about influence. It's the single most important factor in your impact. While our focus is on leadership, it's important to note that one's title has little to do with anything when it comes to influence and what it's all about. Regardless of your position within an organization or your community, you can influence others. What exactly do we mean by influence? Well, let's go to Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary to find the answer. They define influence as the act or power of producing an effect without apparent exertion or force. And quite frankly, I think that definition nails it. I also love the quote by leadership guru Warren Bennis, where he said, "The basis of leadership is the capacity of the leader to change the mindset of another person." To me, that is influence personified. Now, influence is a powerful asset based on a simple concept, but the actual skills required to achieve it don't come naturally to most people. The good news is influencing skills can be learned. Today, I'm going to be sharing a set of exercises that we typically use with leaders in our coaching and training programs. These have real-world application and will help you become a more effective leader. Often, participants in our classes rave about the developmental payoffs resulting from these activities and the effect that they have on their career. So, pay attention. Let's dive right in. Studies of the amount of influence exercised by leaders at each level in the authority hierarchy reveal that the most effective and therefore successful leaders are able to demonstrate skill in several different kinds of influence. That means that their lines of influence are somewhat tentacled in many different directions, and that they're able to use the right kind of influence at the right time and under the right circumstances. I think you'll agree that as we move up the corporate ladder, each rung of that means that further concentration of influence and proximity to the inner circle of power. The closer you come to the power source, the more accurately you'll be able to see, seize, and wield your own influence. There are many sources of influence within organizations. We refer to them as the currencies of influence. Some examples of using your currency include stating exactly what you want or need, clarifying any problems your request may cause others, finding ways to resolve identified concerns, or satisfying additional needs that another leader may have in order to gain their cooperation or support that you need. In this sense, influence is the currency of action. The more currency, the more action. So to be a more effective leader, you need to know more about your current level of influence. You need to ask yourself questions. Questions like, how much currency do you have? Also, what sources of influence do you have in your managerial repertoire or toolkit? Now, our first exercise today is really designed to help you examine the source of your influence and then determine the direction you want to go in terms of developing and expanding your currencies of influence. What I want you to do now is stop the video and download the Influence Profile Questionnaire, then return back to me. As you can see on the screen, this questionnaire is made up of approximately 21 pairs of statements that explain your behavior at work. And when I say explain your behavior, it's how you view your behavior at work. So as you complete this exercise, be sure to consider your role, your responsibilities, and your personality as you assign point values to each pair of these statements. So for each of these statements, you're going to need to allocate a total of 3 points for each set of your 2 statements. Base your point totals on your judgment of how much each statement applies to your ability to influence others. Now, once you've finished, what I'd like you to do is to download the profile scoring sheet and return back. But before we actually do, I want to make sure you understand how you do this scoring. Again, for example, when we talk about basing points here, allocating points, if we have 3 points to allocate, if the first statement strongly describes you, then you'll want to put 3 points for A and 0 points for B. Conversely, or if the A and B are both characteristic of you, but B is just a little bit more characteristic, then you may want to put 2 points for B and 1 point for A. So go download it and then return back to me. Okay, to complete your score, you need to go back through each of the sets in the questionnaire and then add all the scores you have for each of the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G over here, each of these different areas. Add those scores up for those statements. Start first with the A statements and then tally those scores. Go on to the B statements, then total the C statements, and so on until you have recorded a score in each of those tables that you see here below. If you want to check your scores or your addition, the total score for all the sets should equal 63. Now, transfer your scores to your score totals, that is, to the matrix for each area. This will provide you with the relative strength of each of your currencies of influence and its relationship to other sources of influence. So by that, I'm just going to show you real quickly. We're talking under here, let's say under tyrannical here, we're going to be one here, maybe here, here, out here, here, and say out here. So what this very quickly does is gives me a plotting of what it looks like. So what I want to do next is just kind of move you over here to the sources of influence. With your scores in hand, one of the things that you can do now is to download the Currencies of Influence worksheet. There are 7 different sources of influence. I want you to study them and pay particular attention to your dominant and backup styles of influence. So if we go back here real quickly, you can see this one and this one are my dominant styles. This one and this one are my weakest styles. So now that you know your strengths and your weaknesses, use this worksheet over here to real quickly examine those and put down which ones are stronger for you and get a better understanding. Return back once you've finished. Now lastly, what I'd like you to do is to go back and examine your influence profile, the sheet we completed in the very beginning. Then answer the set of developmental questions that you see right here. So some examples that you see here would be things like, what is your primary influence orientation? How do your most used influence orientations enhance your ability to manage in terms of, let's say, information sharing? How does your distribution of influence hinder or derail your level of achievement? In what specific ways does your primary influence orientation match your functional role in the organization? Now, again, these are only a few examples on the sheet. Make sure that you answer all of the questions on the worksheet. Analyze them. Etch them clearly in your mind to grow your awareness. Meditate on them. Unzip your biases. I want you to choreograph your future moves. Unbutton your aspirations and take focus. Retool if you have to. Sniff out the benefits. Strengthen your influence portfolio with the highest payoff currency. Now, in summary, one of the things that we tell leaders all the time is that as a leader, you get things done through others. Leaders typically inspire and guide others towards that goal accomplishment and consistently develop and sustain cooperative working relationships. What we have found is the most effective ethical leaders use different approaches to different situations, choosing carefully when and how to influence people using appeals to what we call the head, the heart, and the hands. Therefore, to be truly effective in good times and in times of great challenge, leaders must be able to master the ability to influence others. Because without the ability to influence others, the truly important things in work and in life cannot be achieved. If you're ready to get more out of your job, get more out of your career, and get more out of your life, influence gives you the guidance and motivation you need to get moving on your development. Just do it. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something that you can apply right away. If you did and want more, please subscribe to our channel below and check out our website for even more content, handouts, and free tools that will take you from where you are to where you want to be. Until next time.